It's 10 o'clock and it's time for the council to be in session. Will the council members please come to the council chamber? It's 20 minutes after 10 and we have 9 members present. We need one for a quorum. Mr. Alatorre, Mr. Burnson, Ms. Galanter, Mr. Holden, Mr. Savornich, please come to the council chamber. We do have 10 members. Call the roll.
Savornich.
Alatorre, Burnson, Chick, Fear, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Willie Thomas, Svornich, Wax, Walters, Ferraro, 10 members present in the quorum, Mr. President.
Burnson and Savornich.
Council will please come to order. This is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the 4th day of May 1999. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. The first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
All right, Ms. Miskowski moves, Mr. Savornich second. If there's no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote. We have the pledge of allegiance, and all right, okay. Would everyone please stand, as is the custom on the first Monday of the first meeting of the new month, we pledge allegiance to our flag, and then if you remain standing, we are honored to have Dr. Mitchell Curry, pastor representing the Los Angeles Interfaith Committee and the McCarthy Memorial Christian Church community of Los Angeles. Would Mr. Holden lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance?
Stand and place your hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And be proud of that.
Dr. Curry, please.
The Lord be with us, and with our spirits shall we pray. Eternal God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, who causes whatever good to come into being, and without whom life has no spiritual source, no divine meaning, no hope, no purpose or destiny. We invoke thy holy presence in this place today, and we would offer our sincere thanks for all thy blessed gifts which have preserved us as persons, as a city, as a state, as a nation, and as a world. Thanks be to thee, dear God, for all the strength of character, the capacity for sacrifice and courage, the maintenance of law, order, and sound government which thou hast ordained to help preserve peace, love, brotherhood, and goodwill, together with the quality of life here in the City of Angels. We are especially grateful unto thee for the wisdom, patience, physical and spiritual fortitude bestowed upon this city council and mayor, so that all their endeavors may be done decently and in order, according to thy divine will and plan. We seek thy forgiveness for the many sins we have committed by thought, word, and deed. We seek thy divine intervention with our local, national, and international problems, for they are many. We are burdened with local and worldwide hunger, homelessness, and many diseases, with local and national crimes that lead to destruction and human suffering. We are burdened with the problems of keeping our families together and our children and youth in school. We pray for safety, for peace and harmony at all levels of government, in our homes, in our schools, and our council districts. We lay before you also, Father, the victims of the tornadoes that have occurred in and around Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas. Give comfort and strength to the families of the victims of Littleton and Kosovo, and where so many have died and where so many are suffering today. We pray thy blessings upon all the citizens who are sick, who are in prison, in jail, and who may be facing various adversities. Lift the spirits of those who may be grieving and who may be depressed and disturbed. Restore to good health those who are broken in body, mind, and spirit. We pray for peace on earth, which must begin with each of us present and each of us within the city. Reinforce our faith, hope, and love, that all may rise more than conquerors above the evils of the world, undaunted by its dangers, yet adequate for its many wonderful opportunities, which thou hast made possible through thy abiding love. This we ask in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Let us all say together, amen.
Dr. Curry, thank you very much. The next item, please.
Before beginning the regular agenda, Mr. President, you have several items to continue. Item 7, the Building and Safety has requested that be continued to May 26th.
Item number 7 to continue until May 26. Is there any objections? Seeing none, that will be the order.
And item number 10, Building and Safety has also requested that be continued till May 26th.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote.
You have 17 there? Okay, you can just throw it in the cart. Thank you.
Okay, the next item. Mr. Holden?
Request that we continue item 30 until tomorrow.
Item 30 until tomorrow, one day.
Yes.
Is there any objections to that? Seeing none, that will be the order. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, items, notice for public hearings, items 1 through 11, with the exception of those that we've already taken up, 7 and 10.
Okay, we have item number 1 is an ordinance, item number 2. Anybody want to be heard on any of those items? We have somebody want to be heard on 3 and maybe 5. Anybody want to be heard on any of those items? Seeing none, the public hearings close on all but 3 and 5. Any special by council members? Any special? 4 is called special? Okay, we have 1, 2, 6, 8, 9, and 11. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those are approved. Forthwith on 1. Okay, item number 3, we have Rafael Franco and Jack Gumbinder.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Rafael Franco at 12345 Ventura Boulevard. I'm here to speak today in opposition to the bid, although I know that it's a done deal. More than anything, upset over the process. I feel that our block has not, and myself personally, I've not been informed of this, and I understand that the law permits you to form a district that basically says, as an example, if you own a house and you have a lawn to mow, and your next door neighbor does not, you have the right to form a district as long as you're willing to pay 51% of the mowing cost, and then your neighbor has to pay 49%. I'm upset over the way that the process has been handled and the fact that we've not been communicated to, as well as the way that the assessments have been distributed. Obviously, what the state law says is that once the bids are in, or the ballots are in, you have every right to then review it and determine whether there should be a district or not. But it's really an oversight function that you have, a responsibility to make sure that the funds that are being collected are appropriately being allocated to the benefit of all the property owners within that bid. The first time that I knew about this particular bid was when I received the ballot a month and a half ago. and nothing was communicated to me up to that time, okay? There was a previous bid in a previous district that was set up, but that failed to get the sufficient signatures. Thank you, Mr. Ferraro. I don't want to take any more of your time, but I do want to remind you, you have the oversight of this, and you have every right to then either change the boundaries of the district, change the way that the funds are appropriated, and then appoint people to the board, to the advisory board. I would like to ask the council to be appointed to that advisory board so that I can represent our block, which is really on the fringes of this district, and which will have the least benefit of all of the properties. Thank you very much.
Jack Gumbinder, and then Jeffrey Fisher.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today to protest not the formation of the district, but rather the unfair method used to assess each property owner. If you refer to the City of Los Angeles Resolution of Intention, Section 2K, each property must be assessed according to the benefit received. Property located in the prime area of Studio City is assessed the same as property located 1/2 mile away. Additionally, two 10,000 square foot lots, one with a 7,000 square foot building and the other with a 28,000 square foot building, they're assessed the same. The owner of a Ford does not pay the same fee as the owner of a Cadillac just because they own cars. So why should property owners on Ventura Boulevard pay the same just because they're property owners on Ventura Boulevard? A property owner at Ventura Boulevard and Laurel Canyon, where Thrifty and Kinko and Save-On are located, should pay more than the owner at Ventura Boulevard and Rhodes Avenue. Rhodes, Mr. Mike. Where a Christian Science reading room is located, and also a little business called Kitchen Factory, who do kitchen remodeling, and he has maybe 3 customers a day come into their store. They certainly don't require the same services as a Thrifty or a Save-On, so why should they be assessed the same assessment? The district originally was supposed to extend to Whitsett Avenue, but the organizers couldn't get the 50% plus one owners, so they reduced the size of the district. The organizers of this well-crafted district cleverly manipulated and carved out the present district to produce the 50% plus owners. The organizers then cleverly assessed each property as if they were located in the 100% prime area. They had 50% of the vote, they had control, so why not go a step farther and make the owner 1/2 mile away subsidize the organizers in the 100% block? Obviously, the city council will not object because of the 50%. However, I want to point out that on January 12, 1997, the organizers mailed me an agreement of the formation of the district with my assessment at $2,605. Now, they're making a proposal to City Council, and my assessment is $4,794, almost a double increase, and they never, ever notified me. This just something I can't believe. I don't know whether they were deceitful or whether it was just an oversight, but for them to do this, I think, is unpardonable. Also, I was wondering, has the City Council ever turned down the formation of a district?
Mr. Gumbinder, we have other people who want to be heard, and
All right, all right. If you give me just one more minute, I went and wrote a letter to each one of you council members. Did any of you read that letter? Just one person read that letter. And unfortunately, I sent 14 letters, and I did not get not one answer from anybody. Now, Jackie may have been in China or somewhere, so I'm going to forgive her. But I think it's kind of unconscionable that I at least didn't hear from somebody. So what I'm really asking today is that instead of you passing this resolution, that you delay the passing of the resolution until you have time to look over and check over the assessments, see if they're equitable. I am willing to go along with the district if you will just change the way the property is assessed. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Ferraro.
you, thank you. Jeffrey Fisher.
My name is Jeffrey Fisher. I'm the property owner of 12123 Ventura Boulevard. My building is part of the Studio City Shopping Center Association. I'm here because I strongly oppose the adoption of this business district, as well as I am in opposition of the unjust way it was, method it was calculated. I happen to have a building that basically is self-sufficient. We have plenty of parking. We pay for parking, we pay for security, we pay for landscape maintenance, etc. I feel many of other properties in Studio City throughout the years have been using our parking lot, walking across the street, walking down the street. Now you've got a case of, the have-nots want the haves to pay. And I just feel the methods of calculation on assessing property owners is unfair. Maybe a method should be formulated where buildings and properties that put more burden on the infrastructure should be assessed more. And those of us who are self-sufficient should be assessed less. However, I'm here to voice not only the opinion of mine, but the opinion of my neighbors on both sides of the streets, strongly opposed to this. Thank you.
Yeah. Polly Ward, and then Mitchell Klansman.
Good morning. I'm here to represent the Studio City Residents Association and tell you that the residents who have worked in an exemplary way with the business and the Chamber of Commerce have been in full support of this project. We feel that a strong, healthy business community results in a healthier residential community and vice versa. And we have been working for 3 years to support this project. We're very, very thrilled to see that it's nearing completion, and we hope that you will support the bid today. Thank you very much.
Michael Klansman, and then Alfred Ananino. Go ahead, please.
My name is Michael Klossman, and I represent kind of three hats today. I'm the president of CBS Studio Center, the largest business in Studio City. I'm also the president-elect of the Studio City Chamber of Commerce, and I'm also Councilman Wax's appointee on the Ventura Specific Plan Review Board. I'm coming today in support of the bid. I think it is just what the definition is. It's an improvement in the Studio City area. As the largest taxable contributor in this, CBS actually has no direct benefit out of the plan, but we feel that the name of Studio City that originated with the development of the studio in the mid-20s, that we're a responsible part of the community, and any improvement to Studio City will improve our business indirectly. We feel that it is a good idea to give the democratic process a chance to operate, and the fact that we can establish what we want done in our city and help by paying for it ourselves. So I strongly urge the council persons today to approve this bid. Thank you very much.
Okay, Alfredo Nanino, and then Gloria Mitchell.
My name is Alfredo Anino. I'm a property owner of property on Ventura Boulevard and other properties in Studio City. I'm a director of the PBID, a director of the Chamber of Commerce, and an active member of the Studio City Residents Association. This this bond between the City of Los Angeles and Studio City being performed by the PBID is only a positive element for the community. It's something that we've tried hard to create. We've spent long hours going over the PBID, its responsibilities, and what it could do for the community. I'm here in support of this PBID, and I hope the City Council is in support of it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Gloria Mitchell and then Robert Kanan.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Gloria Carbone Mitchell from the Studio City Chamber of Commerce. I wanted to tell you that the Chamber of Commerce not only supports this bid, but we're very excited about it. And we feel that Studio City is already a vibrant, exciting place to be, and we want to thank the property owners for stepping up to the plate and assessing themselves. We want to thank the hard work of the bid organizers, and we see the bid as a unifying force for all the entities that are currently at work together in Studio City. And we do anticipate this area becoming a showcase for all of Southern California, and we urge you to approve it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Robert Kanan, and then I don't know, the Alinan Rafit would be next. Go ahead, Mr. Kanan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am the president of the Studio City PBID designated, and this organization came together in 1996 and was floundering until this council recognized the needs in the valley for this type of organization. And with your support and a grant of a substantial amount of money allowed us to go out and explore the needs and the sentiments of Studio City. From that initial grant of money, we began in October 1996 to have public hearings and meetings. With the help of two of your council members and their staff, Councilman Wax and Councilman Fuhrer, and particularly with their staff's directions, we selected a board that was all-inclusive, including tenant association members, homeowners, commercial property owners, and leaders in the community who had displayed and exhibited a continuing interest in the development of Studio City, some going back as long as 40 years. From that October meeting, we had a half dozen public focus groups in which members of the public were invited to participate and to express their views pro and con on the needs of the community. We had ongoing individual meetings from that time on till the present. We had a community newsletter, brochures, and bulletins. We contacted or attempted to contact every tenant and commercial owner in Studio City. All, I might say, because of the results of the grants of funds and support from your city council members. After the focus groups were organized, we then petitioned the community for a vote, and the results, I'm glad to say, are substantially in support of this concept, and I'd like to thank you very much.
Thank you. We have one other, I'll just say the Mexican restaurant. I won't say the name because it's hard to pronounce. Your writing is terrible. Alan Raven?
It's Ravert, and I won't say anything about phonics either. So, it's Alan Ravert. I own Mexicali Restaurant in Studio City, and I am not a property owner. However, I did contact my property owner who is living in Fresno, and I asked her to vote for this so that she could pass the expense through to me and the other people that are in my area that are her tenants. Studio City needs this. I heard some opposition. It's not just about parking. This is about other needs in Studio City, such as the sidewalks that are falling apart that need to be repaired, that the city is not taking care of. I don't know, I think that if you're short-sighted, you wouldn't be for this, but if you're looking in the long range and the best for Studio City, this is what you'd be voting for. So, thank you.
that's all the cards we have, so the public hearing is closed. Mr. Fuhrer?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to rise in strong support of the formation of this new business improvement district. I have spoken to Mr. Franco and Mr. Gumbiner on more than one occasion, and their views are worthy of being taken very seriously. I will say, however, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Mr. Fisher, but I will say that this is a bid that has been under scrutiny, as Bob Khayyam said, for a long time. It's been carefully analyzed. It enjoys broad support. The percentage of opposition to this bid is very small. I think it's 13%, with others being strongly supportive. What is unique about this business improvement district is the broad coalition that's been formed to support it. It is the Chamber of Commerce's support that matters here. It is the tenants' support that matters here. It is the homeowners association, the residents association that matters here. All taken together, I think we can see a broad coalition coming together as a team, recognizing that Studio City is already one of the most fantastic neighborhoods in Southern California, but can be better. It can be better if we identify carefully additional needs that the city cannot afford to take care of, and then allow our property owners to define how best to spend the dollars that will emerge from the assessment. That's the model here. It's worthy of our unanimous support. I want to thank those who've been working so long and so hard to make this happen. I urge adoption today.
Wax?
Yes, Mr. President, members of council, I too am strongly in favor of this and hope and feel confident that after a while it's going to be extended. I think this is really just the beginning, and I think people will see the benefits and the results of it, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to extend it even further, particularly to the east. Studio City has a long history of doing exactly what Mr. Fuhrer just described, of working together as a unit, as a family with all interests, and it's not it's not for no reason that Studio City has been able to maintain its character, has been able to constantly upgrade itself and be a really quality commercial area that tremendously serves the immediately surrounding residential community. I also am aware of Mr. Gumbiner's objections and a couple of others, but it was very much like, the analogy here is very much like the farmer's market. You know, there were some objections, there were people who for it, people worked together, they got together, they worked out all the problems. At the end, there were still a couple of naysayers, but we had a thoughtful program, we went ahead with it, it's now remarkably successful, and the very people who were naysayers, I think, are now people who realize and are benefiting the most for it. This will add to that. This is a continuing effort of a united community to keep its character and make itself better, and you can't go wrong on this. I mean, they're willing to work for a plan and they're willing to pay for it. What more could government ask of people?
Hernandez?
Yeah, if I could have the city clerk step up to the table a second. And one of the questions that was asked, and maybe you could provide us an answer, was the change in the assessment dollar figures. And do you know of anything that was different from what the clerk's office sent out at any time?
No, I believe this has been formulated, and when we sent out the resolution of intention, it should have included the management district plan and the assessments.
So initially, when it was represented that there was notification of a $2,600 assessment, and then that assessment doubled, that was most likely a representation not coming from the city, but from the organizers at the time when they were trying to create that district.
Possibly in the early stages, yes.
Because the city has to formally send out the assessment notice to all participants.
Correct.
Now, does that happen before the vote is taken?
Yes.
Okay. Now, members of the council...
And the council obviously can change the assessment rates after we close the hearing, but...
All right. And I don't think that's being contemplated on this one, and I don't think we've done that, have we? I think we did it maybe in Westwood, when we're dealing with a different...
I think individually, our office has looked at some issues that have been raised by property owners, and the board has made some adjustments when they felt there was some inequity in the process, but I'm not aware that the council has done any changes on the assessment. I know you've made some boundary modifications, but other than that, no.
Okay. Members of the council, again, I think that the reality of business improvement districts is they do benefit the areas where they're established and they have the full support of the businesses. We've had several instances that basically the assessment districts had to be undone or abolished because they lacked the full participation of the businesses, and different types of districts have evolved throughout the city of Los Angeles. What I can say is you have to look at it as a whole area. You can't look at it as a specific area, because basically when you deal with the issues of advertising, you deal with the issues of crime, you deal with the issues of an image, you're dealing with a community's image, and that's part of what happens. Nobody wants to be assessed, and some people voluntarily choose to do that because they have more control over those budgets. I wanted to just remind the people of Studio City that there's a tremendous opportunity and recognition by this council that a business improvement district can basically benefit the whole. And that's why we tend to be supportive when businesses basically request them. But it's going to be up to you to make it work. And if it doesn't work, the reality is you're going to come back and ask, 51% are going to ask that it not happened. And so the more inclusive these processes are, the better. We as government basically play the role of creating the process and allowing for that process to move along. But I can share with you that there have been business improvement districts that this council has had to dissolve because they lacked the cooperation. And that happened after it was established. And again, I just hope that there can be a movement that's on a positive nature, because there's no question in my mind that Studio City is one of the positive communities in our city.
Okay, we have item number 3 before us. Prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
And that is approved. Forthwith on that. Item number 4, Mrs. Chick, did you call that special?
Yes, I did. We have before us, colleagues, another proposal and application for a bid, and I'm proud to say the second one in my district. And I'm also very pleased to say that while I have people here from Canoga Park to express their support, I don't believe that we have any very strong and remaining controversies for the Canoga Park bid. I also wanted to take this opportunity to let you and the general public know what's going on in Canoga Park. We have, as a result of the unfortunate earthquake, obtained federal funding and now have one of the city's best community theaters on Sherman Way in the Madrid Theater. We also have one of our targeted neighborhood initiative programs that is bringing improvements on low-income housing, social service agencies, and street improvements. The CRA Earthquake Recovery Zone, the Youth Arts Center, which is a facility that's going to be built to bring additional resources to our young people in the arts through Prop K. And also ICE-T dollars that have been used and are continuing to be used to improve the streetscape, trees, street lights, benches, et cetera, along Sherman Way. So I want to thank the property owners, the merchants, the Canoga Park, West Hills Chamber, and everyone else who has helped move this forward to bring us a very important additional tool to continue in the progress that's already been made in revitalizing the Canoga Park Business District and the surrounding residential area. I thank you and look forward to a unanimous vote.
Anyone else want to be heard on item 4? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the...
14 ayes.
That is approved. The next item.
Item number 5 is also a BID.
Item 5, I was told that there are several people want to be heard, but I was told if there's no opposition that they didn't care to be heard. These are all in favor. So if you want to be heard, come forward. If not, we'll close the public hearing and vote on the matter. Item number 5. Public hearing's closed. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Who? Mrs. Walters?
Quickly,
We'll make the cards part of the file.
Mr. President, for the record, I would like to be recorded as very much in support of the Little Tokyo Business Improvement District. They've worked very hard to bring it to fruition, and there are indeed a number of people here who would voice their support, but in the interest of time, I do hope that we have a unanimous vote.
Anyone else want to be heard? If not, we have 5 before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
And that is approved. The next item.
Items for which public hearings have been held, items 12 through 18, and Councilmember Hernandez is requesting that 18 be continued for 1 day until May 5th.
What numbers from?
Number 18.
12 to
be
18?
continued.
18, Mr. Hernandez asks to continue 1 day. Is there no objections? Unanimous vote. Any specials by council members 12 through 17? Any specials? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Why can't I run my meetings this way? So he is the inspector.
No, he's the president. Jackie? 15, you want to? Oh, forthwith on 15. Okay, next items.
Items for which public hearings have not been held, items 19 through 41.
19 through 41. We have cards on 19, 24, 40, and 41. Anybody want to be heard on any of the other items? Seeing none, the public hearings are closed on all those, but what I mentioned. Any special by council members? 35 is called special. Any other specials? 42. We're not there, 42 yet. All right. Prepare the roll on 20 through 39, with the exception of 24, 35, 40, and 41. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item.
On the supplemental agenda, item number 42 through 44.
Item number,
42 through 44.
okay, Mrs. Walters is called 42 special. Anybody want to be heard any of those items? 40 has already been called special. 43 and 44. Public hearings closed. No one's calling it special. Prepare the roll. 43 and 44. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That's approved. Next item.
Item number 19, called special. You have a card.
Mr. Shapiro.
Chap will have to do. I rise to speak on agenda item number 19 regarding the 6 special elections that you're holding on Tuesday, June 8th of this year. The part of these elections that I'd like more clarification on are the special elections, items number 5 and 6. That's Charter Amendment number 3 and Charter Amendment number 4. Charter Amendment number 3 raises the size of the council from 15 to 21 members. There's been very little publicity on this. There's been very little discussion on the floor of the city council as to whether you think this is a good idea or not. And by the way, the other item, amendment number 4, raises it from 15 to 25. There's also been no discussion on this, and there's been nobody to say whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. And in addition to this, nobody has mentioned the no subject of salaries. If you're going to increase 10 extra members on this channel, on this council, then it seems to me, are you going to continue at $110,000 a year that you have, plus your staffs that range between 15 and 20, plus the average of 3 extra cars, plus all other perks that you have, or are you going to stop some of this stuff? How much is it actually going to cost the voters? Are you in favor of increasing the council to 21 or 25? Or do you think it should stay just as it stands at the item number 15? My point is, these items have been raised. The public is entitled to know how the city council stands on this, so they should know how to vote. Maybe they'll be guided by your choices and your opinions, and maybe not. But the point is that it is a substantial amendment that are being talked about, raising the council to 21 and 25. Is it going to cost the city voters and taxpayers a lot more money? Or are you going to reduce your salaries because you're going to reduce your responsibilities? Instead of having 250,000 people to represent, you'll be closer to 125 to 150. You'll have less people. Maybe you need less staff. Maybe you need less office expenses. Maybe you need less cars. Mr. President, I think the council should be concerned with these two items.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. There being no other cards, the item is before us. Call the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Forthwith on that one, I think. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item number 24, you have a card.
Item number 24, Mr. Shapiro.
Ladies and gentlemen of the City Council and Madam President, I think it's remarkable how you could vote on that subject. Nobody addressed the two issues that I raised. I think the public is entitled to hear somebody have some opinion on that. Either tell them that I'm all wrong, but somebody should answer it one way or the other. On this item,
Actually, Mr. Shapiro, all that item did was to allow the voters to have an election in June.
I understand that, but I think it should be the clarifications are
I
in
think
order.
you'll find that the entire council is in favor of letting the voters have an election.
Well, I'm glad to hear that from you. But on this item, item number 24, you're talking about hiring some contractors and appropriating $497,000 for this on the Sewer Operation and Maintenance Fund and a new account entitled Wastewater Systems. Now, Black & Veatch has got a very strong history with the city of L.A. And of course, if you read all the backup material on this, you'll see that there was they acknowledge the fact that they have a history that they want to keep closed. They don't want too much discussion on the past working relationships. They are therefore saying
You can take these.
that they are divorcing their company into two parts. One part will be responsible for doing this research on this problem, on this project, which you're going to have them check on all the wastewater systems in the United States, see how they work, and see what's doing with the present system and how they can make the system work better. But as I say, Black & Veatch had a colorful history, and it shouldn't just be lightly dismissed. That's where you say you ask for RFPs, you got 7 people who answered them, and of these 7 people, all you do, you got Black & Veatch. There you want them. And you know the company was involved in 1985 in some construction projects at the Hyperion Treatment Plant. That work was done by Design and Construction Management. I heard tremendous criticism of the work that Black & Veatch has done. And I think before you should award a contract like this to allow them to study what's happening with the city, they'll be studying what they did wrong. And I think you should have a completely outside an organization that is not involved in previous problems that this wastewater system have. After all, this is the biggest project that the city have ever had. $3.5 billion is authorized to be expended, and if you're right now, you're going to get somebody to look into it and get some consultants to help you spend this money. Don't get an outfit that caused you trouble in the past.
Thank you. We can't exclude people. You caused us trouble, and we always hear you. Mrs. Goldberg.
Yes, I just had one question of the committee that reviewed this today. Is everybody in the contract getting a living wage? That's been reviewed? Thank you.
Mr. Wax?
Yes, Mr. President, perhaps the staff could come forward. The questions that Mr. Shapiro raised were questions Ms. Miskowski and I raised in our exact questions we raised in our joint committee. I was concerned about a possible conflict of interest and a possible lack of independence, and as these questions were raised, both of us, Councilwoman Miskowski and I, both felt very confident that they had been addressed and would not be a problem here. I'm going to let the staff go to that. Let me just simply say, members of council, this is something, and Mr. Burnson has a particular interest in this, Ms. Chick and others, this is a long time in coming. This is something that should have probably happened 6 to 8 years ago when we first began talking about an independent outside audit. Since that time, we had one of the Department of Water and Power, and it has produced vast savings and efficiencies in that system. And I feel confident that it will produce equally important savings here. To be certain, the Joint Labor Management Committee that has been working in that interim time has on its own produced savings, and I think that those should be recognized. But it's the beginning rather than the end of the project. There is far more to be looked at in terms of the operation and maintenance of the system and the future demands. They're talking about a $1.25 billion a capital program in the future. If you just save 10% of that, you're going to save $130 million. And 10% savings are certainly modest and attainable in this context. This is money that comes directly from the ratepayers' pockets. It is probably the most controversial fee that the city charges. And the saving potential here, the amount of dollars we're talking about, is enormous. And the good part of this is not really one part of the city benefiting or losing at the other. That argument doesn't even apply here. This is everyone benefits from this uniformly across the board to the extent that we save money on the operation and maintenance and construction of that system. And I would venture to say that this will produce over the next few years huge savings over and above what has already been saved, as I said, by the Joint Labor Management Committee and some of their recommendations. Had this been done 6 years ago, the savings would have been even greater because those savings that have occurred on their own wouldn't have occurred. But it's long overdue. I can't imagine a larger dollar savings to the taxpayers from any action that we're going to take in a long time. I would like the staff to address the issue of conflict of interest that was raised about Black & Veatch, because I think Mr. Shapiro did raise a good question. I think you had good answers.
Okay, your time is up.
Could the staff respond to that?
D. Carey, CAO staff. The firm of Black & Veatch has been involved with the city wastewater system on their design and construction engineering side in some of the early design projects at the Hyperion plant. And they are currently involved on the management consulting side with our bond feasibility studies, which is just the financial feasibility of our wastewater bonds. What this study is that is before you today is a forward-looking operational best practices study. It's not looking at the adequacy of what has been designed and built at the plant. It's looking at how the plant and the rest of the system is operated and maintained. And it's no conflict that we can see. There's nothing involved that would have any kind of relationship with what their past design services were to the city. So on that basis, and based on their extensive experience and their outstanding professional qualifications in benchmarking and best practices analysis, which is what this study is, we feel that they are the best qualified team for this job.
Kowski.
Mr. President, I just wanted to echo what Mr. Wax has said and Ms. Carey as well. This, as you read the report, you're going to see words like outstanding, and those were the recommendations of the panel about the firm that is selected. You're going to read the word unanimous, which was of the whole panel who interviewed. You're going to read the words like enthusiastic. Those are not words you normally read in a committee report recommending a study be done for best practices. The panel also included 2 members of the Joint Labor Management Committee who were also enthusiastic in expressing their support for this particular firm and to work on, to capitalize on the work that's already been done by the Joint Labor Management Committee and even take it further. So I think this is something that we can feel good about. As Mr. Wax indicated, it's long overdue. They should have been done about 6 years ago instead of held up for a lot of reasons, including litigation, but not involving this firm. So I think it's something that the city can be proactive about. It's actually a joy to present something where there is this kind of unanimous, enthusiastic, and overwhelming support, and let's go forward and find these savings and bring it back to the council and to the Bureau for achieving even greater savings for the taxpayer.
Mr. Burnson?
Yes, members of the council, I have faith that if members of the committee felt there was no conflict of interest on the part of the contractee, that's not where my problem is. My problem is, I think if there was a conflict of interest with the use of these funds in the past, it was right around this circle and in City Hall. What I would ask is that when they look at this particular, when they do this audit, which has been so long in coming, we proposed this, Joel, how many years ago? Many years ago. I don't know whether it's necessary to make an amendment or not, but I'm going to move that they also look at whether the funds were used appropriately and not used for other purposes other than what they were collected from the ratepayers. And I would make that motion. Joel, would you give me a second on that?
Scope of this or that?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Should it be in the scope of this?
Let me ask the staff whether that would be appropriate for this or someone else.
Well, you know, this is what we asked for years ago. Now, now if they come to us with anything less, I question that.
My only question is whether that's within the scope of this contract, and let me ask the staff to address that.
Well, to the extent that the motion goes towards looking at the way the funds are being utilized today and what our capital planning is for the future and how we plan to use the funds that are coming in to the system now, that would be appropriate, and that's fully as part of the scope of services, and they will be looking at all the support
Fine.
services.
Well, I want to specifically move that they make that the actual use as it applies to the purpose it was collected, that was appropriate and not used for other purposes. And I would so move because I think the people have been waiting for a long time to answer that question. And that's my motion.
I think we're just making sure that this is not an audit of past practices, this is a forward-looking study.
It's not for past practices at all?
It's a best practices study of how are we doing today and compared to other agencies that do similar.
What happened to the motion that we made to ask for an audit of how the funds were used in the past? Are we going to just sweep that under the carpet? Is that what you're telling us?
This is the direction that the council gave us last July when they adopted this recommendation.
The motion that Mr. Wax and I brought forward wanted to also look at whether these funds had been used for other purposes. At least that was my understanding. Joel, what was yours?
Well, I think that has to be looked at. I'm not sure that this is the group to do that in this context, but perhaps we could ask that part of it we will schedule that part of it as a separate item in committee and pursue it as an independent but corollary matter to this.
Okay, I'm willing to go along with this, but I want an answer to past practices as well, and we have to find a way to do that. I would presume that you will address in this particular report to make sure that the funds are used precisely for what they are collected for under the law. I'm not so sure that occurred in the past.
Mr. Burnson, I'd like to also mention that the fund is audited every year under the city's single audit, and it's audited very thoroughly for appropriate expenditure of funds for sewer purposes only.
Who is it audited by?
By the city's single audit accountants.
Yeah, well, what I have asked for was an outside audit, and I still want an outside audit on those practices.
Something we're vulnerable to lawsuits about.
Okay, Mr. Burnson's motion is to do what now?
To look at the use of funds if they've been appropriate in the past.
According to what I've heard here, that's not part of this study. So what I will do is I will
bring in a motion.
Bring in a motion to send to Mr. Wax's committee to create a study to ascertain whether the funds in the past have been used appropriately. And this time, I want it to come back quickly, not to be 4 or 5 years. In fact, we've never gotten it so far.
Yeah. You speak to Mr. Wax about that. Okay. All right, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Mr. Hernandez?
Mr. President, members of council, I just wanted us to reconsider item 17 for an amendment.
Is there any objection to reconsideration of 17?
An amendment has been handed out.
Mr. Hernandez, what is the amendment?
Basically, it's asking, it's dealing with a one-stop workforce development lead agency and satellite agency contracts, and allows for an exemption of agencies in regards to living wage. It has to do with 2 employees who are working on a part-time basis, and we're working on correcting those issues. That's what the amendment is, asking for an exemption for.
Okay, Ms. Goldberg?
Yes, I seconded the motion because it's only for 2 months' duration, and it's because there were changes in the middle of a contract that could have been changed, but would cause, really, frankly, work to stop while it were happening, and we don't want that to happen. So this is a 2-month exemption only, beginning on July 1st. They will be in complete compliance with the living wage ordinance.
Okay.
So I asked for an aye vote.
Okay, prepare the roll on the amendment, 17 as amended. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that, forthwith on 43. Next item.
Item number 35, called special by Councilmember Goldberg.
Ms. Goldberg?
Just a very brief question. The way it reads, it looks like the authorization for payroll reduction is only for members of the fire department. And I wondered why, since I can imagine that there would be other people who would be interested in a historical society for the fire department and the museum. And is it true that this is only limited to fire department employees?
Mrs. Chick?
35, is this only set up for fire department employees?
Yeah, for what it's worth, actually, it's my motion, and the answer is it was brought at the request of the fire department. I don't know the answer. Chief Ware is saying that it's for everybody.
All right, so maybe we could just amend this verbally by saying...
I think that maybe that the...
Set up a payroll production enabling city personnel to contribute to the Los Angeles Fire Department Museum.
Sure.
And I'll...
Is there only one museum, by the way?
Yeah, well, no, there's several museums. There's...
This is the Fire Department
yes.
Museum.
Yeah.
This is the one from the LAFD Historical Society.
Right.
But
Jackie, I think the verbal amendment is a good one.
Okay.
Let's do it. I accept the amendment.
Okay, there's Mrs. Chick?
Yes. I thought there was more than one fire department museum. I thought I got an invitation some time ago for a new museum that was opening, honoring African-American firefighters, I believe.
one that's been sponsored by the Stentorians.
Yeah. Well, we hear
Right,
from the fire department.
right. Because if there's more than one museum, then perhaps we need to give that option for both of them.
This particular museum that we're talking about in this motion is the museum we're looking at putting together out at Old Fire Station 27 out in Hollywood. I'm not sure about the Old Fire Station 30, which is now the Stentorians Museum, as to whether or not they are involved in that. We can check on this and see if we can payroll deduction for that, too. I'm not sure.
Maybe we should hold this and have you come back.
Why don't we hold it one day?
We'll check
and
and get
see
back
if
to
we
you.
can find a way to make it possible
That's a good
to
point.
contribute
Yeah.
to either, both,
Right. Sure. We'll check on
and
that.
everybody be able to do that.
There's no objection, we continued one day?
I think options are good, Mr. President.
Thank
That's a good point.
Okay, we'll continue the item one day. Thank you. Okay, the next item?
Item number 40, you have a card on the item?
Leonard Shapiro.
Mr. President, on this item, it should be noted that pursuant to Mr. Fuhrer's consent, we're going to refer this item to committee. It will be taken up soon, and if it is item 40.
It's going to be referred to committee?
Yes, Mr. President. The hearing that was thought to be rather immediate has been continued.
Okay, then Mr. Shapiro will call you for 41, because 40 is continued one, going to committee.
Well, on 40, all I was going to say is that I'm in favor of it, and I wish the city council would do more of this type of thing.
Yeah, well, it's not before us, so talk about 41.
41 is discussing a motion that's made by Joel Wax and seconded by John Ferraro. I wonder why it's reversed. But you talk about the damage that the MTA has been doing to the North Hollywood business community. And then you're talking that the city council should appropriate some extra money to make sure that segment 3 of the Metro rail line is finished in case the MTA runs short again. They only owe $7 billion, and they may have some problems. So you're saying, okay, if you're having trouble, we're going to give you some extra money, which we can have here, and we want you to do a good thing and finish the job up into North Hollywood. And in addition to this, the MTA has also been damaging businesses that have existed on Lancashire Boulevard, and they hurt them severely. And they're not paying up like they did in Hollywood. They're taking a long time about paying up money to these. A lot of them are small businessmen, and the money is very meaningful to them as quickly as possible. So you're saying, well, MTA won't give the money. We'll give MTA the money, and they can give it to the businesses. I'm not sure this is the way to go. I'm not sure this is the way to take an organization. At least financially, you're on a solid level. Financially, the MTA is not on a solid foundation at the present time, and it's very doubtful if you want to do something good, whether you can give them more money and tell them, okay, boys, you made your mistake. And after all, we do have 4 representatives of the city of LA who are on the MTA board. We know you'll do the right thing by us. And as far as I can tell here, you're talking about a $200 million agreement, and you're talking about $58 million right now. I'd say slow it up, look it over, be sure what you're doing before you vote on it.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Relatore.
Mr. President, members, not that it's going to make a difference with Mr. Shapiro, but the monies were in fact agreed to by MTA upon the great advocacy by our council president. So Lancashire is going to be reconstructed. Mr. Farrar did a very outstanding job in the presentation that was made. I would only respectfully ask for an aye vote. Let's get moving, and we have better things to do.
Mr. Wax.
They're going to negotiate the final agreement, Mr. Shapiro, but this is not going to be more money. This is actually less than the current contracts call for. This is going to be less money for the completion of the red line to Lancashire and Chandler, to assure that that's completed, to assure that the businesses be made whole with an economic redevelopment plan, which we have talked about previously in this council and authorized, and they will be coming back with an agreement that assures both of those at far less money than is now contemplated under the financial contribution contemplated under current agreements. So anyway, I hope that we move forward with this and ask them to come back with the finally negotiated contract.
Okay, we have 41 before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 42, called special by Councilmember Walters.
Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council members, this is the same motion that was before us on Friday, and it did not gather a majority, and it's here again today. The underlying facts of this motion are that it's tied to the property that Council District 10 wants, where they want to take 77 homes and 20 businesses on the speculation that they can get a big box retailer on the property, and that property is located between La Brea and Redondo on Adams, fronting on Adams, and going all the way back to the freeway, the 10 freeway there. They're taking money from that had been promised to the Lula Washington Dance Studio, and even though it's across the street from the property for the big box, in committee they indicated that this was tied to that property, that it's part of that development. So I urge a no vote.
Okay, Ms. Goldberg.
Yes, I'd like to hear from staff about this project, since I wasn't here the other day and I could find out a little bit more about it. Well, I'll ask my questions after we hear from them.
Good morning. John McCoy from the CRA. This is a loan made under the Commercial Industrial Earthquake Recovery Loan Project. It is to Irwin and Lula, Washington. It is not for the dance studio. We made a loan commitment a long time ago. They were not able to get their project together. They changed their mind a number of times as to whether they were going to rehabilitate this, which is what the loan was for, or demolish it and build something else. The time has run out. This money needs to be spent by the 30th of June, or it goes back to the feds. It cannot be used for any project which has not already been approved under the SIRLIP loan program. We are recommending taking that money and using that to assist two other projects.
So this has nothing to do with the eminent domain issue?
No, it does not.
And it's not in, the Washingtons are in agreement that the loan is being revoked? I mean, they understand that that's being revoked, not, is it being revoked in conjunction with the project, or is it being revoked?
No, this is being canceled out because they have not been able to get plans and specifications and building permits and a contract with a contractor, bonded contractor, to go ahead and do this project. Time is running out. We need to reallocate this money before June 30th, or it is lost.
Okay.
Now, the Washingtons also own property across the street from this. That other property is on the big box site.
I see.
And Mr. Washington came to the committee and asked that we take this money that was originally allocated to do this property under SIRLIP and use that money to reimburse him for costs that he felt that he had incurred with regard to the big box project. But that can't be done. It's not. This money can only be used for SIRLIP projects for earthquake recovery.
Okay, so let me ask a question about the big box project. We took one action in council already, and that action had to do with what?
The action, Paul Smith, CLA, the action that you have taken on that project was a 180-day agreement to enter into negotiations with the proposed developer.
Okay.
Everything
We
will
did
come
not
back to you.
vote to eminent domain anybody's property, did we?
No, ma'am.
So that still has to come back?
Correct.
Eminent domain proceedings do not come back to the council.
I see.
But the disposition agreement, which triggers that, does.
So that there is an additional vote on a disposition agreement before any eminent domain action could be taken?
Correct.
Okay. Because I was unhappy with the answer I got on that question, not from any of you, actually, but from a different person, about the amount of eminent domain and whether or not there were people living in the houses. And I now understand that some of those houses were occupied. Is that
Yes, they
correct?
are. Yes,
No,
they are.
That was not
Okay. Mr. Ridley Thomas.
understood at the time.
Mr. President, members of the council, I want to follow up on the points raised by both Ms. Walters and Ms. Goldberg, specifically about the issue of eminent domain. Now, as those who are intimately familiar with the redevelopment process, I suspect it is fair to say there's nothing that's more unsettling to a community, particularly those who are long-term residents, than the prospect of eminent domain, that is to say, taking of their property owing to powers of government. Would you not agree?
Absolutely.
There is the potential for eminent domain in this particular project. I need people to speak. Sergeant, it's real difficult to hear, sir.
I'm sorry. This project, meaning what is before council today, this loan, is not on property which is part of the big box progress.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
We're getting
on the big box project, you know, there may be eminent domain.
Right, but we're getting two different pieces of information. That's why some of us are seeking to clarify it. Staff has indicated to at least two different council members that the project is in some way related, and now it is being asserted that it is not, either the staff hasn't been sufficiently clear or the council members to whom it was reported didn't understand. And so we're trying to understand what is in fact the case. What I do know to be the case is, as a result of the first hearing that came before the council, it was not explicitly stated, and I think it should be, as to what properties are at risk. And that has to be represented by the redevelopment agency. Now, there's a staff person who can do that, and I think the council is owed that explanation, because if it does not get that explanation, then the problem is that we may unwittingly endorse or support something that isn't what has been represented. Now, the question was posed twice, and the answer to those questions by members of the council were, quite frankly, inadequate. The other thing that I want to raise for clarification, is there a specific process that's outlined by law as to how residents and/or others are notified of eminent domain proceedings, the potential for such, and when should that begin? Does it begin with the exclusive right to negotiate, or are there other moments at which it ought to happen in the process? I need to hear that. The members of the council need to hear that now, because if that hasn't happened, we wish to know why it hasn't happened, and if it hasn't happened, we also want to know, does that then mean that there ought to be some substantial adjustments in the way the project is proceeding? You cannot, and this is not a matter for one district alone. If there's eminent domain, it has to be fully disclosed so that the implication isn't that we are hiding the ball from those who may be directly affected. And the Adams, La Brea community deserves all that it can get with respect to an uplift, but you can't do it by hiding the ball from the residents who lived in that area. And I think that's partly what is the case. And I'll wish to have answers to that, Mr. President, and I'll press my button with your permission again.
Yeah, you don't have to. Do you
I beg your pardon?
you want to answer that question?
I think I shall, Mr. President.
There is a process involving notification. I'm quite honestly not the person who has the expertise in eminent domain. That would be someone from a real estate department. Well, we can have someone back here and give you that answer. I'm here to talk about the SERLIT program.
Well, the project manager's here. Does he not know?
Call him up and see.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Who's next?
Mr. Fuhr's next.
Okay.
Let's see if they get the answer. You want to come up? Can you answer that question?
Mr. President, the eminent domain issues is addressed true after the completion of the exclusive right to negotiate. To answer the council question as far as the notification to the community, this particular project is located in the Mid-City Redevelopment Project area. We have monthly PAC meetings and subcommittee meetings. This issue of the eminent domain, the possibility of eminent domain, have thoroughly been brought to the community through the process of the PAC.
Okay. All right, Mr. Fuhr.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I think that with respect to the, just give me just a second to say what I want to say and I'll be done. With respect to the project across the street from the area that is the loan subject, I think only Ms. Walters and Mr. Wax began to give that project adequate scrutiny when this exclusive agreement first came before us. And the important answer that you've given us already is that many of us who, in fact, now that we have been enlightened, have additional questions, will have another bite at the apple with regard to that project. I really appreciate, since our last debate on this last week, I've had the opportunity to confer with 3 of the 4 of you on a couple different occasions, and I think that, from what I can gather now, the issues really are separate issues. And I think that the issues regarding eminent domain that my colleagues have raised are precisely the right questions, but ought to be directed to the next debate we have regarding that big project. And that will be a very vigorous debate on an important issue regarding the lives of people who could easily be displaced. For today, I think, from what I've been educated here, if we fail to vote for this reallocation today, all we end up doing is preventing other small businesses which could benefit from these earthquake funds from being rehabilitated. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I think that that would be a shame. I think that the reallocation makes sense in the narrow context of moving federal money that will otherwise revert to the federal government from a user who cannot take advantage of it to a user who can, or to users who can. On that narrow issue, I think the right vote is yes. On the bigger issue of what to do regarding the project across the street, there are many unanswered questions for which a lot of us are going to have, I think, a great deal to say when it comes down the road.
Finally, Mr. Fuhrer hit the nail right on the head. You didn't play politics today, Mr. Fuhrer. That's pretty good. The money goes to Ms. Goldberg's district, and it goes to district number 7. The alternative is to send it back to the federal government. This is not one that you present your sword and shield. This is not the issue to do that with, because then it's against the people of the city of Los Angeles. You can either lose the money or use the money. The choice is yours. I acquired the money for my district. Unfortunately, the Lula Washington team, her husband, who owns the property, different from the dance operation, did not use it in time. We paid their rent since the earthquake. I don't want to get into details, but we've done everything to support that dance group and that operation. This city has. We've supported them. Now you have a choice. It's not against Nate Holden. It will be against the people of this city if you send this money back to Washington. This money is earmarked in the report, if you would read it, to District 13, District 7. What's wrong with that? If I can't use it, you use it. Did I try to use it? Yes. Did I acquire the money? Yes. Did I try to help? Yes. The information is before us. The choice is each and every one of yours as to how you will vote on this. Anything but a unanimous vote would be ridiculous. To cloud the issue with eminent domain about some future project certainly should be out of the question, not even on the table. Well, we already know how you feel about eminent domain, because I was the only no vote who's against the Staples Center when you all voted to remove those people who are living in that site where you're not going to have a parking lot. I mean, who's holier than thou? I don't know. Maybe some of the people think they are. But that's what actually happened. They voted to invoke eminent domain to accommodate the Staples Center. Is that correct? I think that was almost a unanimous vote, except for one voting no. That was Nate Holden. I believe that was the case. And they said, well, Nate Holden, he's being different. But that wasn't the reason I voted against the project, and I don't want to go into that now. Some projects are good, and some projects are even better. And then we need good development. We need good development projects in our district. Ms. Goldberg just have one going. Mr. Fuhrer's got them. Each of you have projects going, some at some level. Affordable housing, I know about that. But in any case, Mr. President, members, we can't vote any other way but I vote. Separate the question. It has nothing to do with eminent domain. And I won't press my button again.
Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to know the date that this loan was made and how long that the Washingtons had it. You indicated that they had it for a very long time. At the committee where this was discussed, Mr. Washington was in attendance and very much opposed to it and objected to the statements that CRA made about he wanted to be paid. And as far as the houses, the occupancy of the houses, I believe every one of those houses is occupied. That is not a vacant neighborhood. It's not an abandoned neighborhood. The houses are in good condition. Now tell me, if this is a project going through CRA, does CRA have to come back here to the council for the issue of eminent domain? Mr. Smith.
In accordance with the oversight ordinance, eminent domain issues do not come back to the city council. It is an action taken by the board.
It's an action taken by?
The board of, the agency board.
By the agency board. And in the information that was at the committee where this was discussed, it said that they were taking 77 homes and 20 businesses. That was what was stated at the committee, what was in writing in the report. Now, those houses, I know, as I said, that these are not abandoned homes. It was stated here that they're predominantly renters. It's a residential community, primarily single-family homes. Now, they may be renting them, but it's their home, nevertheless. Yes, Mr. Smith.
Councilwoman, in connection with the file in front of you, you may wish to add a recommendation. Given your concern with the La Brea Adams project, which is separate from this action, that the agency come back to you within 30 days with a status report of what is happening with that project. Give you an opportunity to express your concerns relative to the issues you have brought to the table this morning.
And I would so move. We will look forward to that, and I would also like included in that information that the department can provide us is whether or not this council has lost its opportunity to forbid eminent domain in that area. And indeed, is there a way that we can get through to that will prevent the people, A, knowing about it? There's some concern that the people don't even know that this is planned. And two, you live there, Mr. Alatorre.
All right, Mrs. Walters, your time is up, really.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. President, members of the council, I think what we see happening today is something that's going to create a lot of disorder and dysfunction in this family. For whatever people's agendas are. There's a point in Robert's Rules of Order that basically asks point of order, and it keeps us on track on the issues before us. And what's before us right now is a loan program, an earthquake loan program. I got the file here. It was reviewed by CRNH. It was also reviewed by CD. Sorry to say Mr. Ridley Thomas wasn't there because some of the questions that I was asking had to do with the loan. And why was it that the loan wasn't made? And the reality is the loan has to be expended by a certain date. I think it's July of this year. And so we're redistributing those funds to projects that do create jobs, can deal with economic development, and were earthquake damaged. That is what's before us right now. The issue of eminent domain and another project and CRA's role in that, I think is a question we should ask ourselves, especially when there are issues in our own district and that we're dealing with. But why it is that we chose this forum to bring those questions up makes no sense to me. I'd like us to be focused on what is before us today, and if we have some questions in that regard, I think so. But, you know, everybody has their agendas, everybody has their reasons for doing what they're doing. We have a committee structure that allows us to ask these kinds of questions in committee, and that's why we should be at those meetings. And at the same time, if there are questions that need to be addressed by the agencies, they should be doing that. To do it on this, at this time, is as disruptive as some of the accusations we've made about other members. And it doesn't create a very statesman-like atmosphere for us to conduct business, Mr. President.
Mr. Alatorre.
I would like to move the previous question on this matter, on the entire matter.
It is in order, so prepare the roll on the previous question. Tabulate the vote.
Previous question, a no vote.
All right.
So it's
Let the record show Mrs. Walters voted no.
11 ayes, 3 noes.
Wait a minute. It's not correct, Mr. President.
Well, it did pass. 11, even with Mrs. Goldberg changing.
Well, how many noes were there, Mr. President?
What's that?
How many noes were there?
4.
4 noes?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Prepare the roll on.
I want to amend, and I want to. Are we going to vote on the amendment first, right? By Ms. Walters? Point of information.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to ask for a no vote.
Prepare the roll on Mrs. Walters.
It wasn't an amendment, it was a
What is your motion, Mrs. Walters?
Mr. Smith had suggested that I might want to make a motion, and I did, that they report back to us within a month, and now I'll say within 2 weeks, on what the tenants, what the components
Did you say
of this big box, quote-unquote, deal, are maybe a big box, hopefully a big box. They don't have it. But what this development is going to include. Mr. Smith,
Yeah,
would you
would you s-
state that for me, please?
Mrs. Paul, did you?
Mr. President, what I suggested was that the agency be instructed to come back to the council with a status report of where they are in response to the exclusive right to negotiate, give you a status report about what's happening.
All right, all right. Okay, prepare the.
Thank you. In 2 weeks.
Prepare the roll.
That's what I said, that's what I said.
Prepare the roll.
I vote.
What's the matter with being afraid of the information?
Tabulate the vote.
8 ayes, 6 noes.
All right, that passed. Now we have the matter before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
This is the time for comments from the public on non-agenda items.
Challenge Ross.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ross. I'm a homeless person, primarily in Ms. Goldberg's district. I'd like to welcome you back home. Hope your trip was pleasant. I wanted to share a poem with you. I consider myself to be a master writer, but in the interest of time, I'll not share it and get right to the point. I was attacked a few days ago in the Hollywood area by a security company hired by the Chamber of Commerce in that area to rid the Walk of Fame in particular of homeless people, and I guess in preparation for the new mall project, as well as the transportation subway system that is being talked about. A few weeks ago, I was confronted outside the public library. I was taking a break, went outside to smoke a cigarette, and was told that I would be arrested for loitering in the library. I was in there working on my novel, and the librarian told me that he'd be willing to speak in my behalf in regard to suing this security company if I was interested in that, which I wasn't at the time. I just wanted to pursue my craft. I'm working in a number of different areas in entertainment. A few days ago, an old lady I know who is a homeless woman, about 65 years old, informed me that she was handcuffed to a chair by the security company also, and I was very upset about that. And I was confronted on the street and on Cahuenga a few days ago by them and asked for identification. And I know that I'm not aware that the law changed, but I was under the impression that the police officer was the only one that could ask a private citizen for identification, so I refused. And they told me I had 5 seconds to comply or I'd be arrested. So they attacked me, and I attempted to defend myself to the best of my ability, and I was handcuffed and tortured, beaten. A can of pepper spray was opened and poured onto my cranium, and the police then took me into custody, wrote me a ticket at the station, and released me on my own recognizances and given me a court date. So I'm waiting for that, and also
Okay. All right, Mr. Ross, we have other people want to be heard, so.
Yes, sir. Just one moment, please, if I may. I'm forming a new organization that is representing homeless entertainers or entertainers struggling with the economic issues that would assist in areas of residency and food and clothing and opportunity to take a shower and pursue their crafts. It seems that I'm not artists in particular are not the best decision makers in our society. I'd like the proposition the council for a building, a property to begin this project, and I've come in contact with the Laugh Factory and
all right, Mr. Ross, we have other people now, please.
Well, please excuse me.
D.
Thank
Leaning. D. Leaning.
Come tomorrow, happy Cinco de Mayo to all observing. From Sunland to Hunga, Leaning. London, China, Brazil, Chile, Spain, Washington, D.C., New York. Familiar sounding, eh, Council? To the viewing audience, those were the names of the exotic places your council members visited the third week of April, instead of studying the mayor's $4.2 billion budget, for which they had voted themselves a recess. I do take note that the council members waited until after their developers got them back into office. Smart going, I like that. I do not believe I am alone in saying that we do not elect council members to act as directors of chambers of commerce. From the Daily News, quote, much of the travel was at public expense, and all of the members drew their regular weekly salary of $2,127 each, unquote. Voters, remember, all of this in June when you vote, do not, I repeat, do not increase the number of council members, because an increase to, say, 25 will cost, the cost will be more than $1,100,000, and not to worry, Mr. Shapiro, the council will not take a cut in pay. We cannot afford the higher salaries, the expensive junkets, plus all the perks. In closing, I too say pay as you go on the police and fire stations of Proposition 1, which failed on April the 13th. Thank you.
Verdak.
My name is Peter Verkaik, and I have some questions about rent control. Rent control says the landlord can increase the property by 3% and the utilities by 2%. That doesn't make it 5%. Apples and oranges doesn't mix. 3% for utilities, 3% for property and 2% for utilities is a range between 2 and 3%. I have some papers if anybody wants to have a copy of this. That is just fine with me. But every year since 1979, I have, and everybody else here in Los Angeles, renters, they have paid 5% increase of their rent instead of between 2.5% and 3%. And I wonder if there is anything that can be done to modify the regulations that were effective on May 1979. My question is, the RSO, the Rent Stabilization Organization, became effective since May 1st, 1979. And I explained a while ago that 2% of utilities and 3% for property doesn't make it 5%. The range is between 2 and 3%.
Okay, okay, thank you. Leonard Shapiro.
Well, you didn't answer my question.
They won't. They don't answer. They don't have to answer. Mr. President and council members, this is Leonard Shapiro, who won't be here next week. I'll be at an elder hostel in New Orleans. You ought to go to some elder hostels. They're a good thing. New Orleans. I'd like to speak to the council this morning about the fact that nobody seems to be concerned that there's been no district meetings in the home districts of the city council. You had 10 meetings last year, which meant you were going okay, because the average attendance was between 300 and 500 people that attended each one of these meetings. And since the session is so high on the agenda in so many areas, and you want to show you have responsive government, the easiest way to do this is to have district meetings. So why didn't you have one since November? You know, prior to 98, 97, you had 3 meetings. And in 96, you had 3 meetings. And in the 20 years prior to 96, you had 3 meetings in 20 years. So indicating that the city council and the attendant bureaucrats don't like the idea of going to the people in the districts where they turn out in droves. And about 50 people sign up to speak each time on public comment. They're interested in what you're doing and how they can help you in what you're doing. But all of a sudden, somebody died with this subject, and nobody is holding any meetings. Why don't we have some more district meetings? Why doesn't one person say, yes, they're a great idea, they're involving the public. At least we're having the Charter Commission is being voted on. The charter amendments are being voted on. At least let's show them that we're trying to give them responsive and representative government. But no, it doesn't seem to be working that way. I think that the Charter Commission, both Charter Commissions, let everyone know they were not concerned with mandating, putting in the charter, that there would be district meetings. And the City Council has said many times, by ignoring my suggestions, that you mandate with an ordinance that you have district meetings all the time.
All right, Mr. Shapiro, the
You don't
time.
have the open door
Mr.
either.
Shapiro, the time is up, and
no,
we
it isn't
appreciate.
up.
Yes, it is.
You cut me short all the time. You don't like to hear any constructive suggestions.
Mr. Shapiro, you have a good trip. We'll miss you. We'll really miss you. The meeting will be shorter next week. The public comment period is closed. And next item.
Motions for posting and referral.
There's no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
You have excuses on the desk. Councilmember Fuhr requests to be excused Wednesday, May 5th, to arrive at noon. Personal business meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Goldberg requests to be excused
permanently.
city business Tuesday, June 8th, to leave at 11:30, and Friday, August 6th, to arrive at 11:30, meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Ridley Thomas requests to be excused Wednesday, May 5th, city business meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Farrar requests to be excused Friday, June 11th, Friday, July 16th, and Friday, July 30th. City business meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Galanter requests to be excused Wednesday, May 19th. City business meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
The desk is clear, Mr. President.
Okay, we have some adjourning motions, so would everyone please stand? Members of the council, I don't think this was done. The Industrial Waste Management Division, the death of Larry Muto, Chief Industrial Waste Management Inspector, died at age 44. He died of cancer after diagnosed 2.5 months ago.
All members, Mr.
He started out 19 years with the city, started as a garage attendant in the LAPD.
All members.
Also, I'd ask that we join in memory of Joyce Anderson Valdez, who passed away. Okay. I'm sure all of you know she was a fundraiser for primarily Republicans, and she raised money for Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Duke Majan, and Laura Chick. She raised money for me too. All right, Ms. Goldberg.
Yes, I'd like to
like that
ask that we
Valdez name.
adjourn in memory of Larry Rivera, who passed away on April 16th in Los Angeles in 1974 when former Mayor Tom Bradley was elected to office. Mayor Bradley asked him to join his administration as a community liaison. Mr. Rivera was the founding president of the Los Angeles Filipino American City Employees, known as LaFace. He retired from city government in 1987 and turned to interpreting, and soon became the leading state-accredited Tagalog translator preferred by local government and judicial courts. He was active in the Filipino-American Press Club and community affairs here in Los Angeles. Before emigrating to the United States, he ran an advertising company in Manila in the 1950s and then served in the Philippine government in foreign trade relations until 1963. In 1964, he was appointed as commercial attaché in the Philippine consulates in Seattle and later in Los Angeles. He is survived by Lena Rivera, a retired surgical nurse, and 6 grown children, and he will be missed by many in my community.
Mr. Hernandez?
Mr. President, members of council, I just found out earlier today, and I asked that we adjourn in the name of Gene Wong. He was the father of Leland Wong and Betty Wong.
All members on
apparently passed away on Saturday, and you know, I think we know the activities of his son, who's a airport commissioner, past harbor commissioner, and his daughter Betty Wong's played an important role in the neighborhood watch movement and cultural history preservation of Chinatown. And so I just asked we adjourn in his memory.
All right, Mr. Hogan.
Mr. President, members, we ask that we adjourn in memory of Dr. Chung Ha Han. He was about 74 years old, and his son is Detective Jin Han of Los Angeles Police Department Asian Crime Task Force. And he just passed away, and survived by his wife, Sang Jio Han, his daughter, Ki Young Hee Lee, and his son, of course, the detective.
Okay. All right, any other adjourning resolutions? All right, clerk will call the roll. All right, meeting is adjourned.